Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, so close the week. Was nothing crazy today. I mean, it was the morning. It was expected after a big move yesterday. We were expecting some chop, but we did get, after some amateur moves didn't work out, we did get some nice trades on AMD and DELL and some other bullish moves, SPY, QQQ breakouts. We will talk about that. Had few losers, but overall was a decent day for the community. Nothing crazy. We had a great day yesterday, so we'll take it. Not every Friday needs to be crazy good, but there was Tesla. We got that news, so we'll talk about all that, guys. Just before I talk about that, quick introduction to everyone. This is, if you're new to my YouTube, my Twitter, or our community, these trade recaps and teachings are from the trades, ideas that I take or I don't take, or any traders in my community are taking, or ideas I share on Twitter, or any ideas I want to share with YouTube in the previous videos. What we do is we have a repeatable system setups for either day trades, swing trades, or any investment idea. We have repeatable system, repeatable setup. Every day before the market open, my team in my community, we go through all the news sources, macro news, geopolitical, everything, and we create what we call a game plan. This was a game plan today. There was nothing special going on around. There was some news on Netflix, Apple, Tesla, and there were some upgrades on Uber. So these were on our game plan. But we just don't have the game plan. We also have what we call our day two plays. So our day two plays are the strategy that I built for the plays that were active. I had news few days ago, maybe even a week ago. I call this as RIPS day 2, day 3 plays, and we have a strategy. We use our EMA Clouds and my pivots to play these long or short. So we'll talk about that. DELL was we were short in the morning. Quickly it turned bullish, and then we will talk about that. Micron, few of those day 2 setups, we'll talk about them and see how they panned out. Not only that, then we also have the levels every day on the levels are for our plays on our levels are on our plays every day for SPY, QQQ, IWM, all these. We will talk about SPY levels, how it broke out of certain key levels and helped us. And these levels you can use to trade anything. I provide these levels in the community. They can use these levels to trade on their own based upon the EMA Cloud system. AVGO was a great example of that one. Today we'll discuss that as well based upon the levels. So let's start. So the first one we're going to talk about quickly is AMD. So guys, yesterday was a big fade day for AMD. It was a big short all day on AMD. So after that initial short, today we were looking at what market's going to do. So market was turning bullish at the open. So we added AMD right at the open. I added for the amateur move. Important thing to note here is if you did not trade the amateur move, let's say you did much better than me. I covered that in my previous examples too, right? You don't have to trade amateur moves. I can afford, or I can have risk appetite. I can trade amateur moves because I like to trade amateur moves, and if the amateur moves work, I try to make them into a trend move. So let's look at AMD. So as soon as the market opened, we were long AMD because it was breaking our pivots. Let's go back to see our levels and what were our levels on AMD. That will make some things clear. Let's go. So the level on AMD was 168.52 was the bullish pivot on AMD. So here you can see that, and as soon as it was breaking out in the pre-market, I took a starter long. I had some shares and some options, but it started to fail. It started to fail right back under the EMA Clouds. So I took starter long, and within 4 minutes I was out. Because I knew it could pull back to 165s because I was adding at 168. So that was a $3 risk for me. I didn't want to take that risk, and I got out, and that's fine, But then the trend move started to came in. Market started to turn bullish. I told everybody market is turning bullish back in AMD, right? So we got back in AMD, right? So that's fine. I lost, I lost 20-30% on my options, and that's fine because quick in and quick out, and the size was small. But this time when the trend move came, the size was a little bigger on the lotos. So we got back in, right, dip, and got back in, and look at the second candle, and second candle confirmed the breakout over the pivot we had from the pre-market, and then we got it, and then the breakout was 169.50. That's what I told everyone, and after that it started to move. You can see my contracts were 42%, but I finally closed my contracts because lotos were not worth it, and I moved to the shares. And from that entry, from our entry over that over 168, went on to target of 172. So we made of $4, right? So we lost $2 in the morning, we got back in, and then we made $4. So overall it was a good trade. But the point here is, either you trade trend move or you trade amateur move. It's up to you. But amateur move was a loser, trend move was a winner. You can see my timestamp, right? So as I always, anything I'm trading. Another thing is, if you do not understand, this is for the people in the community. If you don't understand these moves, you don't have to, because I see a lot of new traders coming in the community. They just want to trade what Rip is trading, right? It's not an alert service, and they get in and they do not understand trend move, and they lose a lot of money, and they're like, what's going on? So go watch the webinars, go study the previous recaps, see how the amateur and trend moves working. And so many of folks did so good in AMD who waited for the trend move, right? Sometimes it's good for the trend move. Sometimes amateur moves turns into a trend move. So anyways, my target was 172.50. We met all the targets, and when it 512 broke, we were out of AMD. So AMD was a great trade this morning. You could see how we traded it, and you could understand the amateur and trend move. Great example today. Let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to talk about is NVIDIA, right? So let's see what was the levels on NVIDIA. So levels on NVIDIA were 860, 856, 862, 870 was resistance, 876.20 was another resistance pivot. Initially we were short, right? When it was breaking the clouds, we were short. But we were being proactive, right? We were being proactive because it was, again, similar to AMD. This was amateur move, right? I explain, like I always explain, if I go I'll show you here what we were doing on AMD. So I was actually short AMD, and my puts were over 30%, 35%. And I was pretty quick. And then after the amateur move, the trend move came, right back they swiped us, and I covered, right? I barely covered for like maybe a chump change, right? You can see here market swipes back, and so we cover that for like a chump change, right? So had to close all the shorts because amateur moves were wrong. The real move was the trend move. That's why we had some amateur losers today. And after that, NVIDIA was long. A lot of traders went long in NVIDIA, and NVIDIA was flagging. And when I will cover the market breakout that I gave everyone today, so I will cover how I gave this market breakout before and after, then you will see that how everybody longed NVIDIA. So this market breakout I even gave on Twitter, and there was a big breakout that everyone, each one of us nailed from 515 to all the way to 520. That was a big all day breakout, and that's what helped to NVIDIA longs. So if you can see that, you won't see much because I was on voice, so you won't see my other guidance, but everybody I gave the target to 880 and 885, because once it's over cloud, it's bullish. Pull back to the clouds and flag. And market is breaking out, long the lotos. So 885, 88, 85. So this was the target I gave everybody, 885, and then we met at 85 target. We were like 20 cents short, but that was good. AMD NVIDIA was good until the news of earthquake or Iran news hit and market tanked. But this was a trade on NVIDIA for the community, so good trade. All right, before I go ahead, I'm going to cover the breakout that I gave everyone in the community and even on my Twitter. So this was the breakout, right? So let's see. So what was happening with SPY? Let's look here. So if I show you, let me show you the morning, my guidance morning. So this was it, right? So let's see where it goes. Let me see if I can find it. So this was the setup after we turned bullish that I gave everybody in the community. So this was a setup. This is on 3 minute, looks much better on 10 minute, but I could, I just showing it on 3 minute because I just wanted to show you the smaller time frame, how it's looking on the smaller time frame. But if I go to that, let's see if I can show you that. One sec here. Let's see. Okay, So there was that earthquake news, that's why we had a dip, right? But we were in this consolidation phase. consolidation, breakout. So I tweeted about it. Listen what I said. I said this breakout is the only chance for the tech names to push, right? So you see that. And then I told everyone in the community the same thing, that this breakout will help us push on all the names, right? Look here. This is what market is waiting for. Bullish setup, it breaks out. Everything is over the clouds. I told everyone, if you are long, either from our day 2, day 3 sheet, anything. So this was the breakout. So right, so we were long because everything was over the clouds. So basically the names we will look at later, like Meta, Google, NVIDIA, DELL, all those names were helped by this breakout. So this breakout essentially was the reason for us being long and making money rest of the day on the long side, right? So this was the breakout, and then it goes boom, right? Okay, let me just show back. You go back, you show the step by step, right? So we go here. Here's the breakout, boom. Here's the breakout, more boom. I was on the QQQ calls. Those calls went 100% for me. And that basically made a nice day already when that happened, right? It's because of that breakout. You can see here, I was show in the community, you know, my options just went 60, 30, 100% at end of the day, right? So that was the setup. That was the breakout setup. And it's not the first time I'm showing you, right? It's not a rocket science. I had shown you another breakout before, and before it happened, I shared with all my hundreds and thousands of followers. I shared in my community, and even this breakout today, right? So every day we see that. The other day we broke out end of the day, few days back, right? Then we were breaking down, and this was the breakdown that was yesterday, before and after, right? So we see the technicals working, we see the system working. Now how you make money on that, that's up to you. About your entries, how you trade the lottos, how you trade the options, or how you trade the shares. You know, how are you trading Apple long, Google long, because something is strong when that breakout is happening, right? So we are going to discuss few names like that. We'll discuss Meta, Google, all those long winners based upon this and based upon our levels, right? So that is the guidance. That's what I'm trying to teach every day in community, and that's why people are having so much success in our community, because of the teachings and guidance, not because of random blind alert, right? I show you the reality of how things work. Anyways, guys, so in front of you, beautiful SPY. There's a lot of guidance on SPY. You know, if when I try to show you, there's a lot, but you know, but you can see that how we traded it. There was the guidance. You can pause it and see what I was talking about all day. Now let's go to the next one. So Google was strongest today. So Google was the strongest name. I told everyone in the morning, because, you know, look over our pivots, 150, 53, 150 psychological level. It was an easy trade on Google. All day strength. 153 is the target I gave everyone, and we met almost that target, like way more than that target, right? You can see that I gave the target in the morning and we met that, and you can see the levels that I gave in the morning. You can pause it and see that. So Google was a nice winner for us there. Another one that was a big for in the community today, not my personal trade, but for the community, there was a great one, was Meta. So if you look at the Metas, was you know, the pivot was 518, 520, and Meta never really looked back. And again, go back to my SPY breakout, go back to my QQ breakout. I was trading QQQ, but you could literally trade anything and make money today because it was so strong. Meta was like so impressive, so strong, such a big move from 515, 518 breakout all the way to 529, 530. And the target I gave most people on Meta was that 530 area yesterday highs. So Meta was another winner in the community for a lot of our traders. You know, you can see that they were all trading Meta today, you know, so everybody was on Meta. You can see that Avinash, Lexi, Michael, Yash, and Yash had a great call with Meta this morning, and it was just amazing. So Meta was great for community today. So it's all about, it's a teamwork, guys. It's not just me. You can see here, you know, great call outs from our level 1 traders who contribute more, level 2 traders, Yash, just beautiful. Next one we're going to talk about is Netflix, and Netflix was from our game plan this morning. So Netflix is maintained a buy as a pivotal research. The resistance pivot was 625. So once it's over 625, that's it. Netflix is along, right? And the target is always the same as yesterday's highs. So Netflix was pretty good as well in community. And again, when the SPY QQQ breaks out, things break out, right? So Netflix keeps going. Nancy was on it, and a lot of our traders were on it, and they really nailed Netflix. So the next one that was really strong, I didn't trade it, I completely missed it, was AVGO. You know, the 1330.31 was our pivot, and once that pivot was broken, man, those lotos went from like $2 to $9. So big miss on me personally, but I'm glad a lot of traders in the community took it. You know, Episanu was on it, and Ryan was on it, and you know, a lot of other traders were on it. So that was good. But I just want to see you that how the pivots work on Friday, so you could trade those. So next one we're going to look at is coin. So coin was bullish for us in the morning. Let's go back and look at our levels on coin. So 250, 248 were our two levels, right? So 248 breaks, and I told everyone that coin is bullish, and it turns bullish, risk 248, and there was an easy good scalp. And when 254 was the target I gave everyone, so target I gave everyone was 254, and we met that target. And then when we broke 512, I warned everyone there is no long, broke 512, it's a short. And even after that, breaking 250, 248, it was short all day. Same for MSTR. So you can see the guidelines, right? From the long to the short, there are opportunities. You just need to know your risk level, low of the candles, and trade it all day up and down. All right, let's go back to now Tesla. So Tesla was great today. Just, I mean, amazing, because we got the news. And I told everybody in the morning, do not touch Tesla. On the voice, I said, do not touch Tesla. We were already like negative on Tesla, but when the news hit, our news bot just nailed it, right? We have our audio news bots, we have live news alerts, right? So you can see that there was that news that came in, and right there, boom, right? So I made like 70%, but a lot of folks in the community, they made like a lot of I can show you this one, you know, if you want to see that. So proud of my community. Look at somebody made 200%, 800%, 500%, so much on that Tesla put. It was just crazy. I mean, you know, I wish I saw it earlier. I didn't have my news bot on, but that's the value of our community. And it was just a big fade on that. I mean, look at the range, guys, from 170 to 160. That is just crazy, you know, because nobody expected that. And if you had 160 lotos, maybe a few cents, and it goes a few dollars, and that was it. And then we did trade Tesla. I teach about how to trade the news, because when you trade the news, you look at the levels, right? I explained it in my previous videos. And look at the levels, rejections, and you trade the news. That's how you trade the news. And then we traded this bullish over clouds. We did trade some long. I can show you here if you want to pause, and you can see. So there's a lot of Tesla, because you just have to find a risk. I was not long on this swipe, although I think it should have been good for a long-term account. Look, because this was 160 support. 1, 2, 3. Look at this daily support. So I personally didn't add it, but I would have added even if it was a C minus, because so much extension. 1, 2, historical support, and look at that. Tesla is after hours 173, and I can show you that as well. After hours I alerted 3450 breakout and the news, and at here 167s, and Tesla went for 173s from there. You can see this after hour alert. So just an amazing ticker to make money, although we were long, and I told everybody to cut the longs here. So short on the news, long here, long scalp, cut the long scalp. You see the rejection on the clouds, end of the day after our trading, bullish, you know. So nice. I mean, high focus on Tesla next week, high focus. This is like a triple bottom or something, and I will be very interested to get long Tesla next week, based upon the strength. Again, if it breaks 170, then no, you know, we're tough, because we know our risk is 160. So we'll watch how Tesla does it. But Tesla was another day, crazy day for us. Next one I'm going to quickly discuss is a Micron. So Micron was kind of a choppy loser for me because 123, 150, and Micron I was a short, but it swiped back with the market and then it chopped. It did not really work. You can see this. So this is not the trade you want to be in, right? So this action, this choppy action is not where you want to be. So it was a loser today. It was a short when it swiped back, even though it was always under our resistance levels, right? But I held it up, and when it sent sideways, I just went out. I just took a loss because I don't have time for this one, because it was still bearish, but because my entry was not that great. Yes, if my entry was right at open, would have been great. But my entry was like 122.80s, and that kind of didn't work out, so took a loss and moved on. Now next one was solid. So next one was DELL. So initially we were short on DELL. I actually made like 30% or something on DELL short. I can show you here. So let me show you. Let's see. You see I was up 30% on my DELL short. So I was actually doing good on the DELL short, but when market swiped up, I got out. I stopped out. I told everybody to stop out, and then DELL went over our pivots. Let's look at our pivots. Our pivots on DELL were 127 and 129.50, and then calls started to come in. Somebody told me about like millions of dollars of 135 calls that came in on DELL. So look here what I'm saying. Shorts are closed and it's over our pivots, and DELL is a long, and good warnings 512 to 3450 call. And in our community, a lot of people were on DELL today, because of the range and the trend change, and because it was a winning swing. And remember, right, we don't have to, because it was amateur move. Yes, it was a tough, few people kind of lost because market swiped back up, but that's what happens. That's why we need to stay on top of market. It's part of the game. But you could go long and make your lost money back. I was kind of fast because that was a big move from 128 to 124, the short at open, right? So I got it. But after that, you just need to be careful. You saw the market breakout, and that's why everything was so strong today. We'll see what happens Monday, but it looks like it wants 135. So next one we're going to talk about is DNUT. DNUT was actually, let's look at DNUT. So DNUT was 1485 was the risk, and it pulled back. 1485 was risk, and it never stopped us out, but never really gave us too much push. So it was kind of a flattish trade. But if you respected this 1485 risk, then I also like it for the swing. Then you probably got out by end of the day with some some money made. But for me personally, it was a scratch. I tried to take the dips, and then it was holding 114.85, and then was coming back. I just got out for break even. But just want to see the importance of this 14.85 level. Then we also had DJT today. So the Trump stock, DJT, sorry. So DJT was a day 2 short for us. So DJT was our day 2 short. Let's go check the levels on DJT. So the level that I gave on DJT was 44, 47, 44.75 and 44 right before the market open. It broke our pivot and never looked back. So that was like a $4 short from our pivot, all day short. It's all about the pivots, bearish. That's why DJT is always on our day 2, day 3. Let's look at next one was Uber. So Uber was on our game plan today. So Uber, our levels were 75, 75, 60. Jeffrey lifts the profit target. The analyst. I personally missed this one as well. But I just want to show you that once it was over our pivot levels, 75, 60, it never looked back. And look where it bounced. I gave a 75 level as a support, right? 75 level as a support right here. And that held. And then breakout of the upside pivot, and it never looked back. So that was a great trade by the game plan levels. Look at my levels and look at the game plan, and it's all by the system. So yeah, so that was it for guys. Nothing crazy today. Was a slow day overall. There was some bounces, but nothing convincing. I'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a great weekend. If you join the community, the link should be in the description. Come for guidance and a family of traders. Do not come for alerts. See you later. Bye bye. Tada.